Hi everybody. Okay, I've been thinking about this video because I've been thinking about the relationship between Victor and Nikki for a couple of weeks now. Because of the way the storylines have progressed and everything. So I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on the subject and yeah, okay. So this might be a little bit of a long one, not like 10 minutes or something, but buckle in, buckle up. Okay, so before I get questions, the reason why the title is Victor and the reason I get the hashtag to Melody Thomas Scott is because I think Nikki is going to be more influential in the storyline than Victor is. Now, let me explain. Okay, now I talked about last week. Oh, they're going to have a storyline that involves money and class and stuff. And I don't really like that because, yeah, okay, if you have money, and I mean real money, then yeah, that's reality. But if you don't, it's not. Okay? You cannot get a jet and fly a surgeon who just happens to specialize in the surgery you need with no money. Okay? And when I say money, I mean money, money. Like you're supposed to believe that Victor has billions of dollars, not millions, billions. Okay. Well, I mean, the guy has a jet. What more do you need to know? Okay. But forgoing that for a minute, let's talk about the characters. And I mean, down deep. Okay. Now, I know that everybody wants to romanticize the couple and say, oh, Victor and Nikki, they've been together forever. And yeah, they'll get through anything. Okay. Yeah, maybe they have. But have you ever thought that there's a power imbalance in the couple? Because Victor can go off and do all these things to all these people, and he never says, I'm sorry. He never really apologizes for anything, and he never has to pay for anything he does. And I mean, he's done some shady stuff before, okay? Meanwhile, Nikki is the ever dutiful wife, always by his side, never wants to be in the way, never wants to be a problem, raise those kids, didn't want to bother him too much. I mean, okay, if you want an example of what I'm talking about here, I'll give you one right in the face. Okay? This woman had a problem with a thing on her optic nerve, and because she didn't want to be a bother, she didn't mention it to her husband, who could have helped her out. Okay? That is what I call a power imbalance. When you don't even feel like you can speak your mind and say, hey, I may be hurting because you may think that you're going to give the guy the upper hand, you're in the wrong marriage, sweetheart. Okay, so the way I see it is Nikki has this problem, and now she's kind of in balance of we don't know if she's going to get her sight back or not. Okay, and so I'm thinking, oh, okay, depending on the outcome, it could totally change the dynamic of the whole relationship because there's two ways it could go. Either Nikki ends up blind because let's say out of all the possibilities, the surgery didn't work or they didn't get there in time or something like that, right? Okay, say it doesn't work. Then Nikki is under his control and he has the upper hand and he has the decision on whether or not to help her out. But also, I've been wanting this man to get his comeuppance for like a year at least. Okay, and I'm saying, what is going to happen to this man where he's going to have to really apologize for all the stuff he's done? Well, maybe the comeuppance is going to come up in the form of, hey, buddy, you may have all the money in the world, but you can't do about what your wife is going through because something higher than you or whatever has more say in what happens with your wife. Wouldn't that be a downer? Wouldn't that bring Mr. Victor from up here to down with the people. Okay? Okay. But then here's the flip side. Say it works. Say by some miracle or whatever, it works. And she has a sight back, which means they're on equal footing now. She may feel like she's slightly in debt to him or something because he can say he saved her life, but they're on equal footing. Okay, so how much is saving someone's eyesight worth in the scheme of things as to if you're having a problem with your spouse or something like that? Okay, is it worth the point where she forgives him for everything he's done in the past and they reconcile, or is it still where she's still pissed off? I don't know. And what would be more interesting to see? I don't know. I would say, just for argument's sake, that her getting her sight back would be more enjoyable than her being blind. Why? Because, okay, on the outside, it looks like, oh, yeah, that would be whatever, different storyline. We haven't seen that. The thing is, I've seen it. I've seen every person act blind. And no shade to anybody. None. Okay? But I've seen that a lot. And granted, she could do it. She'd probably be great. But I don't want to see that again. Because I know how it goes. She's temporarily blind and she might get her sight back in a couple of weeks or maybe a month, and then by some miraculous whatever, she gets her sight back. And then because Victor's the one that nursed her back to health, they go back together because he nursed her back to health. I've seen the whole storyline. Why do you think I could tell you like that? I've seen it like a dozen times in different formats in different ways, but the same storyline. Meanwhile, if she is better, then they are on equal footing. Then she could decide to, I don't know, actually have a real conversation with him and say, let's get it all out. Okay? What did you do? What didn't you do? And will you really apologize for what you did? And I mean, really apologize. Not that I'm sorry you feel that way, apology. Which is not an apology, by the way. Because until the person says, I'm sorry for what I did, it's not about you. An apology is supposed to be about the other person. If it's not about the other person, it's about the first person, which is not the point. Okay? Sorry, I'm a little testy on that one. But yeah, okay. So what would be interesting is if she gets her sight back and then they're on equal footing and then they can either hash it out and come to a real agreement and act like a real couple where there's no power imbalance anymore, or she could decide to, okay, thank you for what you did and still leave him. Because let's just throw this one out there. A woman can make it on her own. And I'm not saying this from any kind of point of view. I'm saying of we need to normalize. Maybe people can make it on their own. Okay? And it'd be nice for a soap opera to show that. Besides the love story, fairy tale, where everybody ends up happily ever after in the end. Okay? Because I don't know about you, but I was read all that stuff when I was a kid. And then that kind of messed me up because I was like waiting for somebody to come rescue me. And then you're like, oh, that doesn't happen that way? Oh. So that's why I want to see what I want to see. Okay? All right. Bye, guys.